Hello, and welcome to day 30 of our Lent devotions, a journey through the Gospels towards Easter. And we leave John's Gospel behind and the account of the Last Supper as well. And we head into the Garden of Gethsemane with Jesus and his disciples and Matthew's Gospel, as our reading today comes from chapter 26, verses 36 to 56. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there to pray." He took Peter and the two sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Could you men not keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak." He went away for a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." When he came back, he again found them sleeping, because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the third time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour is near, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd, armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. "The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him." Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Then the men stepped forward, seized Jesus, and arrested him. With that, one of Jesus' companions reached for his sword, drew it out, and struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his ear. "Put your sword back in its place," Jesus said to him, "for all who draw the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I cannot call on my Father, and he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels? But how then would the scriptures be fulfilled that say it must happen this way?" At that time Jesus said to the crowd, "Am I leading a rebellion that you have come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I sat in the temple courts teaching, and you did not arrest me. But all this has taken place that the writings of the prophets might be fulfilled." Then all the disciples deserted and fled. Amen. May God bless to us this reading from his holy word. "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." When they wrote the musical Jesus Christ Superstar, Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice managed to get an entire song out of that verse and a couple of other little bits from the other Gospels of the account of Gethsemane. And it's called Gethsemane. And it's one of the real crowning achievements of the whole show. If you've not seen it before, I would suggest at least listening to that song, because it is quite stunning. The emotion that comes out of it as Jesus wrestles with the idea that he is about to suffer an horrendous death, one that he knew that at the beginning of his ministry, at the beginning of his life, that he would have to go through, but that now it has come, is an incredibly difficult thing to face up to. Even God the Son, in his humanity, finds it difficult to do what God has asked, although of course God has asked him to do the most difficult thing that he ever asked anybody to do. There's a line in that song which is, "I'm not as sure as when we started." And I think that sums it up. He knew exactly what he was getting himself into, and he preached about it on many occasions and prophesied about it to his disciples. But when the time came, there was that moment of wrestling, of fear, of, am I actually able to go through with this? Before that was washed away. Not my will, but yours. I will do it. I will do it because you have asked me to. And I will do it because you will get me through, because I know that beyond the death is the resurrection. God doesn't always ask us to do the easy thing. He, I'm going to make an assumption, is never going to ask anybody watching this or myself to be crucified, or hopefully even to die. I can't guarantee that won't happen, but it's unlikely in a society that we can worship the Christian faith freely. But that doesn't mean that he's not going to ask us to do the difficult thing. The thing that takes us not just out of our comfort zone, but into places where we could be at odds with the people that we love. We might have to move, uproot, and go to somewhere completely different where we know nobody, where we're not comfortable with the culture of where we're living because it's completely different to what we're used to. Could ask us to do something that is really putting ourselves out there in a way that we've never had to do before. There are many times that God asks us to do the difficult thing, to go against what we know, to go against what society believes. But our answer should be the same as Jesus. Not my will, but yours. Even if we look at it and go, really? I can't do that. Why are you asking me to do that? The answer is, not my will, but yours. It's not the easy thing to do. It really isn't. And many of us who get asked to do the difficult thing will end up falling by the wayside in some way. But even if that happens, he'll be there to help us back up, to forgive us, to carry us back along the way, and probably to ask us to do the difficult thing yet again. It's all about doing God's will, not ours. When we come to faith in Jesus, we do surrender our will. And that sounds like something that is completely at odds with how modern society is, to surrender your will to anyone or anything else. But that's just the way that it goes in this occasion. We still have freedom to live. We still have freedom on this earth. And yet there will be times that God will ask us to do the difficult thing. And it is on those occasions that our answer is, not my will, but yours. And I will see you tomorrow.